But Haley Fisackerly, President and CEO, Mississippi Entergy, Mississippi. Good morning, sir. It's been a long time. How are you doing?
Good morning, Paul. I'm doing well. How about yourself?
It's doing good. Thank you so very much. I appreciate you coming and sitting in the big chair. And
he wants his own radio program, by the way.
Well, I mean, listen, this guy knows politics. He's been around politics forever. He's been at the highest. He knows he's the mover, shaker, player. He knows all these people. He could do it tomorrow. Have no doubt at all.
I'm out.
So
see ya.
What are you doing about 4 o'clock in the morning, by the way? So
well, that's okay. I'll leave it to the professionals like you, and I'll stick with what I'm doing. So,
man, look, there is. How long have you been now with Entergy? It's been a while.
Well, I've been with Entergy coming up on 27 years,
Amazing.
But 14 years this week as president and CEO as of this week.
How about that?
Yeah.
See there, the clock was ticking, and I just knew to ask that question.
Yeah. And it's kind of eerie because when I walked into this job, we were paying $10 an MMM BTU for natural gas prices, and all of a sudden, deja vu, here we are again. So it's kind of strange.
One of the stories that I mentioned this morning, Haley, was that, God forbid, with everything going on, we have, and the forecasters are saying it could lead that way, we have a major hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico. I have no idea what's going to happen.
Well, we definitely have challenging times, but one thing we have learned in just the time I've been in this job is how we can be more aggressive with doing things proactively to manage the cost to our customers. And so technology's brought us a long way, but we have a very diverse mix of fuel, how we generate electricity. Grand Gulf is still a very important asset to that. If you look at last year alone, 32% of the electricity that we generated came from nuclear, just over 50% natural gas, 5% coal, and the other 12% came from our participation in MISO, the Mid-Continent Independent System Operator, where our generation has to compete. So this is producing savings for our customers, and if we don't do one of those things, Paul, our customers will be worse off.
Why hasn't nuclear been given more of a favorability rating by the green team out there? I mean, because it seems like it's been downplayed, and I mean, God knows. I mean, you couldn't get any cleaner.
I'm hopeful there, Paul. We're starting to see a lot of people waking up to that. With the push for more renewables, you got to have a mix, right? The sun doesn't always shine, the wind doesn't always blow, so you have to have other things. And that's right. Nuclear is carbon-free, and it is delivering great value. So the good news is you're seeing somewhat of a renaissance happening. There's talk, there's look. The federal government is putting up dollars to encourage developers to come back in and look at new technology. So we're hopeful there. But to answer your question, we kind of turned our back on it. But when natural gas prices were really low, it was hard to make the economics work on them. You remember when I came to this job, we were looking at a third unit at Grand Gulf and just could not make the economics work then.
What's the life cycle of what we have now? Because you've put some new things in it. There was some massive refitting or something many years ago, but the life cycle of that, the life of existence is way out there, or what are we talking about?
Well, if you recall, I came on your show a few years ago, and at the end of 2016, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission granted a 20-year license extension to Grand Gulf, and that gave us the green light to make the investments we need to make sure that plant runs an additional 20 years beyond its existing life. So now it has a license to run to 2044. And so, and we've made a huge investment. In fact, last year, Grand Gulf had one of its best records of operation, a 95% capacity rating. We just finished a major fuel outage, a planned outage this spring. So my hat's off to our employees at Grand Gulf. They're doing a great job. We've made significant investment to have that plant run well through 2044, and who knows? We may even look at another license extension on that unit.
What would be able to replace it, because it's 32%? The other question is just curious, how much could you kick it up if you wanted to go above 32%?
Well, we would have to look at other investments and stuff, and there's new technologies. For example, there are new gas units now that can be built today that have the ability to flip to hydrogen. Now, our sister company in Texas right now is building a very large unit that will have dual fuel capacity that it can flip from natural gas to hydrogen. Now, right now, hydrogen is not very economic, but there's a lot of focus on hydrogen exploration, new technologies to make hydrogen using renewables, so you're not using natural gas to make it. A lot of hope there. So think about then having a plant that has a dual fuel capability. So it's not just a nuclear answer there. Battery storage. Now we're seeing more renewables going out there. And how can way people use power and the way we could use smart technologies to make it available when it's needed could be exciting ways for us to meet our customers' needs.
Haley, how's the inflation, the $4.92 a gallon nationwide national average, how's that translated into our home bills? Well, and commercial too, for that matter.
Well, when you talk gasoline, it does impact our business. You know, we run a lot of vehicles out there. We have a lot of our other vendors who provide services. But another commodity you look at is natural gas prices. Last year at this time, Paul, we were buying natural gas at $3 an MMBTU. As of yesterday, that was $8.50, and the forward market show that staying around there, if not higher, through the first quarter of next year. So it is a significant concern to ours. And when you look at the fact that at the plug, you know, over 50% of the electricity we generate comes from natural gas, that is going to have an impact on our customers. So that's why it's so important we make sure Grand Gulf runs. We're deploying renewables. Just week before last, we had a big announcement in Sunflower County on our new solar facility. That's going to give us more fuel diversity into our mix. And we're deploying another 1,000 megawatts of renewables over the next 5 years. So that gives us more diversity. We've got lots of programs out there for our customers to help them find energy-efficient ways to live. Products out there, Wi-Fi enabled thermostats, LED lighting that you can buy at discounts at our website, EnergySolutionsMississippi.com. We're very aggressive in economic development. Think about that. The more users we bring to our grid, you have a greater base to spread our cost across. So that's something we're very aggressive on and had a lot of success. We've added about 50 megawatts of load over the last year, so that's going to be something good. And also it's bringing jobs to our communities, which are needed.
You know, when you drive in early in the morning and you see, especially on I-55, these big buildings, 4 or 5 story, these complexes, and you follow them on a day-to-day basis as they get the grid up. Then all of a sudden one day you come in and it's real early in the morning and you see the lights on, enough where you've just turned the light, and it's like they come to life. And you know that they'll be completed pretty soon. But I always think about that. And I also think about your customer base when that happens, that the more energy is going to be used.
That's right. And the more customers, it's better for the rest of the customers. Yeah. Just like running a city, the more taxpayers you have, the more services you can provide, and the way you can spread the cost. Well, the same with our business. And that's why we're so aggressive working with our communities to bring jobs to our areas. And it's a great hedge against fuel costs, too.
Are some pictures of the solar farm in outside of Ruleville? Are those on your website?
Yes, I believe we have pictures on our website, and there's definitely been a lot out there in the media. It's 1,000 acres, Paul. Nearly 272,000 panels, over 1,000 acres there in Ruleville. Impressive facility that was built by Recurrent Energy, and we have purchased that facility. Through them. It will start dispatching energy onto the grid next month. We had a big announcement after the mechanical completion of that facility, and looking forward to getting that on the grid and providing those benefits to our customers.
Now, is that storable energy there? That's storable to batteries or whatever?
It can be. We've designed it to be able to deploy that technology when it becomes affordable. But how many
homes will that serve? How big of an area will that serve?
Well, that 100 megawatts it produces will serve roughly 16,000 homes.
Wow. And the next one forthcoming is where?
We're in the bidding process right now, request for proposals, and we hope to know the answer to that probably the next quarter there, where we'll identify another 500 and start another phase for another 500.
A couple of other questions here, and just want to ask, is there any rate increase before the Public Service Commission? We'll talk to Haley Fisackerly about that. When we return, we are back live in the Trustmark studios, and we thank you. Haley Fisackerly, President and CEO of Entergy, is with us. You know, we were talking about the rates and the increases. Anything before the PSC right now, or where does that stand?
Yeah, we have an annual filing with the Mississippi Public Service Commission under something called a formula rate plan, and it's reviewed every year by the commission. And our rates are made up of two components. You have a fuel component, which is adjusted every February. And as you can imagine, with fuel costs, that has been a huge increase on our customers this past February. That's a dollar for dollar pass through. So that has been reflected in our rates already. That was roughly a $7 per thousand kWHUs, or roughly 7 cents. And then there's another matter in front of the commission on our formula rate plan, which reflects the dollars we invest in the grid. We've been very aggressive on modernizing our distribution grid to improve reliability and resiliency, deploying sunflower solar, for example, making those type of investments. So there's a matter in front of the commission, and if approved, it will equate to about a $3 increase. Now, all said and done, yes, that is a slight increase on customers. The fuel cost is something we're trying our best to manage, but our total rates will still be well below the national average. We'll be right around 11, 12 cents a kilowatt hour. The national average is close to 15 cents a kilowatt hour, and the regional average is close to 14. So we're still very competitive there, which is important to our customers and to our communities when we're trying to recruit and retain our businesses.
You know, it would have been good to have this 20 or 30 years ago, the technology that we have today with Siri and Alexa to close the blinds, turn the heat up, down, air. It is just amazing. But I think there's so many people of all ages, not only millennials, but even boomers, have embraced that technology and using it, which has got to be helpful.
Paul, it is a big change. In just my 14 years being in this job, I can pick up this phone right here and adjust the thermostats in my house. And my boys are keeping it too cold upstairs, and I can adjust that. And so that is great. And our website will tell customers that the best thing you can do for yourself are follow these energy efficiency steps. Watching where you set that thermostat. Don't leave it low when you're out of the house all day. Pull the blinds closed. Run a fan. Lots of steps you can do. LED lighting it's amazing what lighting costs has dropped there. And so technology is amazing there, but simple practices around the house can make a huge difference.
And then you guys have re-outfitted the meters and everything else. Is that complete yet?
We will finalize that this year. And what's great about that, we've hit some bumps along the way when you deploy new technology, but the systems, it's really going to improve the reliability. We'll be able to pinpoint problems before they happen. And more aggressive there, and lots of new technology coming out in that space as well.
I always want to mention this because you guys have been one of the foundations of promoting Mississippi, and we have so many good things to point at, so many positive things. As far as workforce and everything else, you got people who've been with Entergy for a long time retiring. You guys are expanding. There are some incredible job opportunities, and I'm not sure how you fit as far as staff is concerned, but give you a chance to speak to that.
Yes, I mean, just like every other employer I talk to in the state, we're in need of workforce, and we have a lot of turnover. One thing that's great about a company like ours, we have a very loyal workforce, and they stay with us a long time. But I've been amazed at the number of people that have in our company that hit 40 years and are retiring. So everything from linemen that work in the field that people see to people that work in our offices, our power plants. Grand Gulf has had huge needs there. That's been one of the challenges there, but we're very aggressive in working with our communities and community colleges and education on developing that pipeline. So the great opportunities out there, you can learn about those jobs on our website. And we encourage people. It's a great place to work and provides a service that all of our customers and communities need.
Well, I'm not going to ask you to put on your political hat, move back to Washington anytime soon, but I just don't speak to this. Are we doing enough to address your concerns or your needs through the workforce development, or is there something else we could do?
Well, I tell you what, we've come a long way here, and one of the things I was really glad to see Governor Reeves do was with Accelerate Mississippi.
Yeah.
You know, Governor Barber years ago saw the opportunity when we saw a surplus in funds and the unemployment insurance that those dollars were just sitting there. And the idea was, why can't we put those to work to help develop a workforce? And so you had the SWIB board that was doing that, but they needed a little more authority and focus. And bringing Ryan Miller in at Accelerate Mississippi has really been a great move, and we're seeing those moves. Mississippi Economic Council has been focused heavily in this area. I've been on that board for many years. So it's really starting to gel. I mean, just looking at Nissan's recent announcement, they're going to spend $500 million retooling that facility. And the state of Mississippi was able to step up through Accelerate Mississippi and put up $49 million to help train these workers. And so that's retaining those jobs, that's bringing a huge economic investment into our state, and bringing a new technology that's going to put Mississippi on the map.
What's your take on the EVs, though? Because, I mean, you're sitting in the hot seat there. If tomorrow we woke up and 45%, 50%, God forbid, 60% are EVs now, and everybody went out and made the change, what do you guys do? I mean, can you handle that?
We're working very hard on it, and so there's a lot of change coming. Yes, we can handle it. We're working with the Mississippi Public Service Commission right now from everything what we need to do to look at ways we can deploy those. We're also looking at tariffs to put in place for third parties to deploy those and what the rate they would charge. We're working with an industry consortium.
Deploy those commercially or residentially?
Ones I'm talking about are commercially, right? Yeah. And so on the residentially, we'll be focused, or a lot of focus on educating customers as you deploy those. A simple thing is putting a 220, 240 volt in your garage so you can just hang a charger on your wall to plug your vehicle is something. We've reached out to the home
builders.
Do
you interface with is that part of what you guys are going to be doing to work with the homeowners on that?
We've already been talking to the Homeowner Association, and I tell you, they're on top of their game. They know these things are coming too, and so it's going to have to take a balanced approach. Just like I told you, the way we approach deploying generation, you got to have a diversity mix.
Yes,
it's coming quickly. EVs they're amazing. I've gotten to drive some of them. It just blows me away. The Ford F-150 Lightning coming out, what's neat about it has bidirectional charging. So you'll be able to put a smart device in your home between the breaker and the charger. And that device, if your powers went out because of a storm, it would sense it and start pulling power from that truck to power your home. That's pretty amazing technology. So,
but then again, for people who think they're going to be doing this with a 110, it'll take forever for you.
Right.
You got to have a 220, right?
So you have three classes of charger. Class 1 uses a 110, and that's going to take you all week to charge your vehicle up. A Class 2 uses roughly 240 volt. That can charge your vehicle overnight. So if you think about the typical driver drives less than 70 miles a day, and these average cars are getting about 300 miles. So you probably only need to charge it once a week, but even at night, you pull into your garage or have it hanging outside your house or on a post, you plug it in and charge it. Then the Class 3, these are ones that we'll be putting at shopping centers or along the interstate at various charging locations at convenience stores. Those are called Class 3. They're 480 volt. The typical one can charge 100 miles in about 15 minutes, and that is improving. So we're working right now with the Mississippi Public Service Commission, the Department of Transportation. I've been on the call with Brad White. They need to come out with a plan. There's going to be federal dollars available to the state of Mississippi to help with deployment of this. The Entergy Consortium. So there is a lot of focus. We have a team right now that's looking at how we work with some of our customers who are looking at fleet technology. This Amazon facility north of town here that's being built, they've already invested heavily to have the charging infrastructure on the backside to run delivery trucks that will be battery operated. Has
your industry kind of figured out what a charge would cost? Let's say a 20-gallon car that holds 20 gallons commensurate in an EV. What would a charge of, just say, a mid-sized car cost?
Paul, I don't have those numbers right off the bat, but it's just a few dollars, around $5.
A lot cheaper than gas.
A lot cheaper than gas, but that's one of the things we're engaged with the Mississippi Public Service Commission right now is what does that tariff look like, right? Yeah. And then for these third parties who are doing it, one of the things we got to make sure we've done it in a way where those who are using it are paying their fair share of the costs of it and deployed in a very reasonable way.
It's going to be, and that's going to be a dogfight in the future when they really become a presence on the road, and it's going to happen quickly. Who's going to be paying taxes for the infrastructure?
Oh, well, I mean,
because that's going to be a fight.
Government's going to have to look at making those changes. If you go from a gallon charge, and we're going to do some standardization. Congress going to step up and look at things the way we
only got a few seconds here, but you think Mississippi is moving in the right direction?
We do. We're seeing a lot of economic development activity, the most I've seen in my 14 years in this job. So we're optimistic.
Love to hear about some of that when you come back the next time. Don't be a stranger.
Thank you, Paul. Take care.
Always good seeing you. That is Haley Fisackerly, President.